الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, none of you truly believes لا يؤمن أحدكم until your desires are in line with what I have brought. Yeah? So I want you to remember that for the rest of the circle, inshallah. And today I don't know why, but whenever I come to Trent, I always seem to get invited for these kind of topics. Yeah? So I remember many of the talks have been revolved around either marriage, or Valentine's Day, marriage, Valentine's Day. And this one is like similar thing. If she ain't on the Deen, can she be my queen? Yeah? So I always seem to get lumbered with these topics. So hopefully, inshallah, you might be able to benefit from some of the experiences that I've been through previously, as well as that, some of the hadith and stories of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, how they dealt with some of these issues. And while you guys are on campus, give you the strength to be able to stick to the Deen on this issue. And living as Muslims, all of you guys look so young, subhanAllah, compared to me. You guys were just saying, you guys all look younger, you guys all at uni or college or what. But basically, living in this country, specifically, there are many temptations. Yeah. So there's temptations of movies, there's temptation of drugs, there's temptation of crime, there's temptation of money. But one of the biggest temptations is women. Yeah, it's one of the biggest temptations growing up in this society is women. Because not everyone wants to be a gangster. I don't want to be a gangster. Not everyone wants to take drugs. It's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to be, the champion at, this online gaming or whatever. Not everyone wants to do that. But if you're a man, unless obviously you're homo, but if you're a man, most of them, the druggies, the gangsters, the players, they want this. Yeah, this is something that is a big temptation in the West. And if you just look around us, not in here, alhamdulillah, but if you look around us outside, the world and society generally is dominated by women and the sexualization of this issue. Everywhere. You want to buy ice cream, they'll put a woman there just to entice you. Forget the ice cream, you get enticed. Look, yeah? You want to get, perfume, you see the links advert, right? Astaghfirullah al-azim. That everyone's saying, yeah, I've seen it. Ah, damn. Because that's what they do, yeah? They sexualize it. You look at children's clothes. So I've got children, I've got daughters. When I go to shopping with them, and you look at the children's clothes, the girls' clothes, it's exactly the same as what the women are wearing, the skimpy clothes. And you think, oh, what's happening there? Wherever you look, there is this sexualization, and it goes on everywhere. And there's temptations, TV, magazines, everything. And there's no wonder why the statistics of how many times people think about that subject, sex, the number of times, the actual statistics are once every 8 seconds. And especially in single males. I count about 300 seconds. I'm not going to count how many times you're thinking about it, yeah? But in society, that's what happens. Yeah? And let's face it, growing up, you are lying to yourself if you have not been tempted yourself. In one way or another. Whether it's online, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's this marriage service that Brother Zakaria wants to set up at university, whether it's on the streets, whether it's at college, whether it's at school, whether it's at primary school, some point in our lives, we have been affected. And we have been tempted. Because that's how Allah made us. So let's accept that. This is a reality that all of us face. And if we don't accept that, we are lying. But we look around us in the West, and there's many problems on this issue. Major problems. So I'm a teacher, that's my job. Yeah? There are children aged 10 and 11 who are already involved. They've already got boyfriend and girlfriend at the age of 11. You have a look at Britain's statistics on teenage pregnancies. Britain is up there. It's the lick, it's the bomb on this issue. It's got the best record, the highest number in all of Northern Europe. You look at single parent families, just look at the programs. Look at the programs that children watch. Children, my class, 10, 11-year-olds, watch EastEnders. Wallahi, I've never watched EastEnders ever in my life, not one episode. But some of the storylines you hear is disgusting. homosexuality, incest, sleeping around, it's disgusting, and the children watch this. You look at the amount of corruptness that we see with homosexuality. You look at the porn industry. It's actually one of the biggest money-making industries in the West. The porn, yeah, massive. This society is littered with it. You know, to the extent that the abortion rates in this country are crazy. You know, you can have fetuses and there's people having abortion left, right, and centre. I don't know if you guys saw the news the other day. China, there was a baby that had been hit down by a car. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it? There was a baby that was knocked down, and he was lying there, and people were just dying, and people were just walking past, like, oh, actually they didn't even look. Oh, just a baby dying. It doesn't register because they're like animals. They don't care about this part. They don't look at why Allah designed it. They're like animals. They're satisfied. You know, in the West, they give you this notion that they are searching for true love. Trust me, go out. Actually, don't do this. Go out on a Friday and Saturday night if you've ever seen them, or ask your uncles who are taxi drivers. Yeah, ask them what they see. Trust me, if you call a lamppost true love, then they find true love every Friday night because they are peeing against the lamppost. I love you. Yeah, and so their eyes connect when they go out. Their eyes connect. Thing is, they're drunk. It's all blurry. So sometimes they see a man. Oh, I love you, man. They think, is that your true love? Because if you have a look at how these people act in the West on a Friday, Saturday, and if you're a student, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because they are pushing the drinking, pushing the clubbing, pushing the going out. You see how they behave. You see how they treat themselves, treat their women, treat each other. Seriously, like a bunch of wild animals lying around on the floor. For them, that's a good time. But we see this society is rampant. They talk about it, they believe in it, they promote it, they act upon it, everywhere. And unfortunately, because we grow up here, because we live here, unfortunately a lot of us, to some extent, maybe not the people in this room, but the Muslims, and we all count ourselves as one, because any Muslim that goes astray, it reflects on me. Any Muslim that is losing the way, it's my job to help him bring him back. So, and you have a look, unfortunately Muslims have been affected by this temptation, by the issue of the men-women relationship. And there's different levels, yeah? And let's just accept again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us. He created us with that need. He created us with that desire. He also gave us how, which I'll go through in a few minutes' time. But He created it in us, so it's going to be triggered, and it's going to be agitated. However, the Muslims, there's different levels of how badly they've been affected. So I'll give you the low level, yeah? And most of us are Asian here, but the low level. You know, on Facebook, put your hands up if you're on Facebook. Okay? Everyone's on Facebook, pretty much, yeah? If you have friends that are female, whether they're Muslim or regardless, if a brother posts a status, quote from Hassan al-Basri, this, the one who thinks about death, and you think, yeah, nice. A sister posts the same post. What's the first button you press, Jibs? Like, yeah? Because you think, there's no harm, I just like it. You get a text message from a brother, charity week, next week, who's on it, yeah? And you think, yeah, good. You get a text message from a sister. You reply with a smiley face, colon, brackets, send. And you think, why? Why do I have to do that for? Isn't it? But it's like the little temptations, isn't it? So like, sister asks to be friend, yeah? Or female asks to make you a friend. You think, no, we're not real friends, just Facebook friends. Just acquaintances, really. A few weeks later, there's like a little tab in there, Facebook, ask for the number. Isn't it? Request number. You can't just get the mobile phone. Should I click? Nah. What do you think is going to happen over time? You're going to get tempted, isn't it? Shall I click? I'm not sure. They're the low level. If you're Asian and you've been to school or college, Asian boys, Muslim boys, they don't go out to the clubs because they get battered by their dad. They don't go out drinking out publicly because their uncles who are barbers, butchers, taxi drivers will all see them. So they think, nah. So where do they meet? Let's meet at the library. How come everyone's laughing? Because they know that's the case, isn't it? Asians, when they want to do a little bit of this, get a piece of the cake, Let's meet at the library, innit? Make sure you bring your books. We study together. Revise together. Revise, baby. You think, nah. But to some extent, you see that's a little more. Then you got a bit higher level, isn't it? Your Diary of a Bad Man level. Where they see the opposite sex and go, yeah, boy, ugh, and then they fall over. Put your hands up if you've seen Diary of a Bad Man. Admit it, just admit it, yeah? You see it and you see the effect. They have the parties, they go out, they do these things. Then there's like a little bit worse. The flirting in the canteen. A little bit worse. Just chatting, making her laugh, making sure you look the part, she's making sure she looks the part. You laugh that a little bit louder. Just laugh normally, or just give salam or walk off, or don't do anything. But there's a little bit more agitation. Then you get a little bit more, and this is where it gets a little bit worse. Where you get, they actually go out. They're actually boyfriend, girlfriend. A little bit worse. Then you get one where they're actually involved in sexual activity. Then it gets a little bit more sickening. Then you're like, that's alright. Then you get a little bit worse, where you get Muslim sisters take off their scarf when they get to school or college or university. Then you get a little bit worse, where the Muslim sister that comes to the pharmacy asks for the morning after pill. Then it gets a little bit worse, and you find out that Muslim men are using instruments like this to record things, but not to record Islamic talks, but rent a house out, and who goes in these places is the Muslims. Then you get a little bit worse, where the girl becomes pregnant, having illegitimate children. Then it gets a little bit worse, where they completely forget the Deen, and they are like the kuffar, clubbing and pubbing and doing everything that the kuffar do. May have started from the like of a status, and one thing leads to another. But there's a level, low level, and sick, disgusting. There's a level. But unfortunately, this men-women relationship thing, we all feel it, we all sense it, we all see it. It affects people to a different level. And sadly, Muslims have been affected by that. So what's the solution? What does Islam say? What do we as Muslims need to learn? What do we as Muslims on campus or in our day-to-day lives, I'm not a student anymore, what do we need to abide by to make sure that we don't fall into the same issue? Make sure we don't fall into that same journey that leads you to the disgusting level, the haram level, the jahannam level. We have to follow certain guidance. The first thing, and I'll go through a series of points now, some things that we need to be aware of to make sure we don't fall into the same trap. First thing, the person who knows what we should do is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows. He created us. He designed us. He put what we have within us between our legs. He's doing it. He knows. He knows exactly what to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير. Shouldn't the one who created you know? And Allah could have chosen any names. Wahuwal, and He is what? Latiful Khabir. He is the most kind to His slaves. Yeah? He's the most Latif, He's the most kind. Why on this issue is He the most kind? Because He doesn't tell us to be monks. The Prophet ﷺ said, La rahbaniya fil Islam. There's no monasticism in Islam. You can't be a monk. He knows, and He's given us guidance. So let's have a look at what that guidance is. First thing, we have to link our actions directly to the consequences in the hereafter. Have to link. So you guys know the famous quote, Muhammad Ali. He says, I don't smoke, but I carry a box of matches with me. And when I get tempted, I say, Ali, strike the match and burn yourself. If you can't take the fire on your hand, how are you going to take the fire in the hereafter? Link your actions straight away to the consequences. So the Prophet ﷺ said,